Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the GOWEN Racing Podcast here on the channel, episode number 27 coming your way today. We have a special guest for this episode for only the second time this year. We'll introduce him in just a moment, but you are joined, of course, by myself, Gary Owen, and the usual Jay Cook. Jay, how are we doing today?
Doing pretty good as usual.
Anything change over the last week for you?
Not really, no.
Oh, there you have it. Matt O'Brien as well, the Nitro Racing League owner, is here with us today. Matt, how's your last week
There's
been?
15. There's like 10 more DMs. It's been okay. Work's been a bit of a pain in the ass,
But you're
that's
alive
how it
and
goes.
running Nitro well still. Just had the regular season finale, by the way, on the last weekend. We'll
Oh,
talk about
God.
that. I wasn't there. Jay wasn't there. But Matt, you can run us through it later in the show.
I don't want to talk about me choking.
Yeah, I heard about that. We'll have to dive into it. So we have a special guest for the first little bit of today's show. One of my good friends, Joey Stone. Joey, what's going on?
Gary, going. It's going good, man. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me on the show.
Absolutely. This is like out of the blue. It was like an hour or two ago, and I was just like, you know what? We don't have a lot to talk about, so we got to try and get a guest. And you were my go-to. We had a guest earlier this year for like episode, I think, 2 or 3, and that was Garrett Maines from the Coca-Cola series. But we had no idea what we were doing back then. Well, we still don't really know what we're doing.
We still don't.
Yeah. But we have a little bit better of an idea. But Joey Stone, obviously, Twitch streamer, very big in the NASCAR heat world. Joey, I mean, obviously, I know you pretty well now. We kind of met. I guess we met in the core when you pushed me to victory at Daytona and whatnot on that last restart in the fall brawl.
Yeah, you still owe me one after that one.
Yeah, I mean, we got to find a spot to get you in position to win.
That's true. I mean, hopefully the next season isn't a bunch of road courses and short tracks, and maybe I might have a chance to get up there and fight the cozies and the champagnes and all that. Might have that opportunity.
Are you real quick hoping that it's not going to be ARCA cars? I did not enjoy running ARCA cars at all.
I mean, here's the thing. I think the ARCA cars are great. I think it's a challenge for sure. Reminiscence of the the Gen 4 era and whatnot of the Cup cars. But I mean, in all honesty, I just think people are more well known of what the Cup car is. People may not like the Cup car, but I think that's going to provide more exciting racing, puts more people together in a pack. It's a lot more easier to handle for someone who's new, maybe not as pro-ish when it comes to the iRacing level, and it would help the content creators sort of have a neutral ground, a balanced field. Hopefully Cup car, but I mean, whatever it is, I mean, you'll probably see me on the track, either getting wrecked or something. So I'll be there no matter what.
Yeah, same here. I mean, honestly, like I like the Cup car more because I'm not good on iRacing, so it's kind of levels that playing field. And hopefully, we can have Matt spotting for me again in the core when we do it again. But obviously, you're known for NASCAR Heat, just like I am. You, of course, did the NASCAR Heat Pro League and stuff, and you drove previously for the Richard Childress team. So what was that experience like? I've never actually really talked to anyone about like what that whole experience of being in the Pro League is like, and I would love to hear you kind of explain that. And how did you like get reached out to by RCR, and how did that like whole meeting go down?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I can say about just the whole experience the past 2.5 years is it's breathtaking. It's kind of catches you by surprise how everything just goes by so fast. Driving for an organization like Richard Childress Racing is not a lot of people get to say that. You're in the same company as people like Dale Earnhardt, Kevin Harvick, Jeff Burton, just to name a few, and you can put your name under that list now too. And it's pretty surreal to look back and just think about that. The whole thing started back when 704 Games was making the Heat series, and they made NASCAR E3, and I didn't really think of anything of it. I saw that they had some sort of challenge where the top 6 or 7, I can't remember exactly what it was, top 6 or 7 make it to like this Homestead finale, this Homestead race that they put on, and I kind of tried it, and then I realized, okay, I don't know why I'm losing the speed. I give up. I'm done. And then they announced a pro league, which is under the eNASCAR bracket of what you see on the track every weekend, except it's virtual. Sponsors, teams, Twitter, social media, all over the place, just virtual. And they had it out to where it was like 40 days of qualifiers through day and night. And for me back then, I was finishing up my degree at college, and I saw this as my opportunity to get into the sport that I love. This is it, because let's be honest, I'm pretty sure all of us in here wanted to be a race car driver. It always crossed our
Absolutely.
mind at some point since we're
Yeah.
NASCAR fans. I would have figured that's happened.
100%.
But I never had the money for that. It takes a lot of money to grow a successful brand like that at a young age, especially living in the South, which is really challenging to rise up the ranks with a bunch of people. And I just took it upon myself as the opportunity to get where I wanted to be. And I sacrificed a lot of sleepless nights, lots of hours just practicing how to build custom setups. And over the course of time, I got progressively better to the point where I started getting noticed a little bit. And being who I am when it comes to streaming and everything, I always want to separate myself from everyone else and do something different, because I'd rather put myself in a category where it's one of 3 people rather than one of 100 people. And what I started doing was started making commercial like videos on my Twitter promoting me and showing teams what I can do for their brands and their sponsors. And it all started with Sunny D, because I was driving the Sunny D car in the qualifiers. They started liking my tweets. They started following me, sending me little care packages. So I started making little Sunny D commercials on my Twitter to kind of help out and show Roush that I'm in this thing. Team started looking at that. It got closer to draft day, had some really good qualifiers, and then draft day came. And I had an interview with RCR, I think like 2 days prior, and I wasn't even thinking about RCR. I didn't even think they were really paying attention to me. And they reached out, and we had a good like hour-long conversation on the phone. And it went from like an interview to just like a friendly talk. And I knew right then and there that it would be a really good fit for me to start my career. And truth be told, and it happened. Austin Dillon called my name, had my friends and family there. We all jumped and screamed, popped confetti, and it was amazing. The whole experience was great. Getting to drive for an organization like that for 2 years was amazing. A lot of great memories so far in my career, and I'm always thankful for them for that opportunity. And the next chapter, don't know what's gonna happen, but surely it's gonna be amazing with everything that's happened so far.
So, do you have any idea at all of where you could end up in the future, or is that just completely unknown right now?
It's completely unknown. I wish I had an answer for you. With the next NASCAR game not being announced totally yet, I know it's been announced that it's in development and it's going to come out later this year. But we can only imagine that eNASCAR is going to continue, with this next game at some point in the Pro League. It's just a matter of when they want to start it up, how it's going to start up, and how free agency is going to work. Instead of my mindset telling me, am I going to get picked up? It's a matter of how and when I'm going to get picked up, because I just feel like, that I've done enough to show teams what I can do, on and off the track. And it's just a matter of waiting. It's a matter of seeing what's going to happen, and whatever I have to do to prove to a team that I'm their guy. I can't wait for that challenge, and I can't wait for the opportunity to go after it and do some amazing things. So, long story short, I don't have a clue, my friend. I got no, I don't have a clue.
I mean, hopefully it's all gonna work out. I mean, obviously, I've myself have paid a lot more attention to the little pro league or the little summer league showdown thing they were doing as well. Now that
You
obviously
were
I'm friends
watching
with
that.
you,
You were
I
watching
saw
it.
you pick up that win a couple weeks ago, which
What?
was
Me
very
win?
nice.
No,
Yeah, I
no
couldn't
way.
believe it. I was like, oh my god, it's not a second place finish for Joey Stone. Actually, how
Yep.
was that win? I mean,
First career
obviously, I
win.
know you guys work really hard. Seeing that, just even us doing the Nitro Racing League, like a lot of work used to go into it. Now I just rely on people to give me a setup and go. But obviously, I know you guys are working really hard with those races. How much went into the specific race you won? And of course, what did it feel like to finally break through in one of these big NASCAR heat races and actually win?
Yeah, so what you just said about what goes into one of these things, that's a great question. And a lot of people ask that all the time to me is how many hours do you put in for a car, practicing on your own with, other competitors, which is very common on Xbox and PlayStation. Um, you know, as time has went on and I've learned more and more of how these cars handle and what changes need to be made to find that balance that I'm looking for, it definitely takes less time than it did like a year or two ago when I was kind of fresh onto the scene of making my own custom setups to my own driving style. Um, if I were to just kind of give you a ballpark estimate of how long it took for me to build that setup completely until I was like 100% satisfied with it, it took me about 2 days, maybe 2 to 3. Comparing to what it used to be, which was like a week, maybe even more than a week if I was having a hard time at the track, which was common back in the day for me, until I've learned more. Yeah, but that Texas race, we knew the chances of it going caution free were low. So here's the crazy thing about these NASCAR heat setups is you're building a setup, but at the same time you're building two setups in one car. And the way that works is building a gear that is a race gear, but you can also go into a fuel saving gear. And we had to make it to a certain lap in order to pit and get to a cycle where we can make it on a two stop rather than a one stop. And, or it might be the other way around, one stop or two stops, but you know what I mean. And during that, weekend, I was really sick too because I got the COVID vaccine, my second dose, and I was not feeling good at all. I had to drink some advanced and take a lot of vitamin C just to kind of get me through the race, and had a really bad qualifying effort and started like second to last. And during that race, I kind of just treated it like there was no one else on the track, and I just got to worry about myself. So I just kind of let people in front of me make mistakes, hit the apron, move up, take one spot after another, and then eventually at the end, we just had enough fuel the way I planned it all out, and we fought for the win, and we got it out of turn 4, and I think I lost my voice while being sick at the same time, and it was just crazy. It still hasn't sunk in. Seeing my own T-shirt out there now for my first career win is crazy. That all came together, and now that the first one's out of the way, it's just a huge relief off me completely. After all the pressure, there was a lot of pressure on me for it, and to finally get it done, it's just a relief. And now that I got that one down, I can safely tell myself there's more to come.
Absolutely, I would expect more from you, and it was unfortunate. I watched a bit of Atlanta. I didn't watch the Xbox one, but I watched the PlayStation one. It was really unfortunate
Why
that
did I
it
have a
didn't work
feeling you
out.
were going to bring that up? Why did I have a feeling you were going to bring that one
You have
up?
a history of, I guess, just bad luck. Not even in NASCAR heat, but
Kind
I
of,
mean, I
yeah.
look at the core too, and you've had a lot of bad luck on your side, and obviously Atlanta, another kind of example of that. And then,
The
like I said,
the outside
unfortunate,
got
right?
me on that one. The outside got me on that one. That caution came out with like 4 or 3 laps to go. I was like sitting in fifth or sixth place, right where I wanted to be. I was working with Josh Harbin, aka the Bear, who's one of the best out there on the platform. And we were right there. Caution came out. I was stuck on the outside, and Atlanta Motor Speedway, it's single groove on Heat 5.
Yeah.
Realistically, it's multi groove. Hopefully, future installments we can get that corrected and get the accurate representation of that track. But I was just stuck on the outside. There was nowhere to go. And going from a top 5 possible winning car and a championship to P11. So definitely a shame for that one.
And that's bringing up the idea as well. We'll kind of transition towards NASCAR 21 in the future a little bit, but we obviously know the next game is going to be a lot more simulation based, but still, it's going to be approachable for the casual player. Do you think with the physics from R Factor 2, I don't know, have you played R Factor 2 at all, Joey?
I will be honest, I have tested it a little bit in my spare time. I don't stream that because it's definitely a different genre of racing for my community.
I don't think it'd be a good
So I
one to
have
stream either.
Yeah, I just haven't streamed it. I just kind of wanted to run a few laps and kind of get a feel of like what the physics are like and all that. kind of have a good understanding of it, which I'll take that to the next game and future installments if this is going to be the physics target, at least for the next few years. But I have played it a little bit.
Okay. So, do you think, based off of what you've played, and I put probably like 10 hours into R Factor or so by now just to kind of get an idea. Do you think that these new physics could potentially change the playing field in the future here when, we have the eNASCAR Pro League on, say, NASCAR 21? Do you think we're going to see maybe some top guys struggle more compared to what they are in NASCAR Heat? Because, I mean, I'm confident it's going to feel like a completely different style of NASCAR game. So I can completely see a potential where a guy maybe that is in the pro league right now, but kind of runs towards the back and have just more of a feel for the new physics and be able to accelerate way better than everybody. Do you see that happening?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not gonna sit here and say names or anything, obviously, but I definitely think there's some people who may struggle at first, and there's gonna be some people who are gonna jump right off the bat and be really fast at the start. Which, fingers crossed, I'm one of those guys and like get
Let's
this thing
hope.
figured out really quick. But I'm not worried about it really. Over time, just from what I've picked up, experience of how to handle a car, how learning how to adjust a car to your liking and everything. Now that we're approaching an era of NASCAR gaming, which hopefully is going to be more accurate physics wise and whatnot. And I'm not going to say just like iRacing, but kind of approaching that realism of iRacing of how a car handles. I'm really excited about that because, I've had a lot of experience on iRacing and I've done it for a few years now. And over the course of time, I've gotten very confident with it. And I'm hoping taking what I've learned from there and the little bit I've played of R Factor, it's really going to benefit me moving on to the next thing. But I think we're really going to see this field close up, eNASCAR wise, and even just online lobbies too. I mean, this is going to be a new stepping stone where hopefully tire management's a huge thing, and you can't just go out there and run qualifying laps every single time, off throttle time, and hopefully multi groove racing. If all the signs are pointing towards it, we're going to see just a huge stepping stone and a whole new experience for the casual and the experienced player.
Yeah,
Don't tell Gary to tire save.
Or just, you know
I
what?
would-
That's not my biggest problem. Well, it is on iRacing. I'm terrible at it.
It's one of my biggest pros for me. I love tire saving.
I can't do it.
I love it.
If
In core,
it's
in core, every time, man, I'd be saving tires, and eventually I'd be passing. I'd be right there with like Shillhouse and everybody, and as soon as I'm feeling really good about myself, the caution comes out. I'm like, well, there goes that.
yeah, and
There it
then
goes.
if it's like a late caution, everything just goes to crap in the last 20 laps or so. It's
Welcome to sim
frustrating.
racing, dude.
Yeah.
Welcome to sim racing.
Yeah, tire saving is like my biggest flaw. So hopefully I can get the handle on that, especially if that's a larger component in NASCAR 21, which I wouldn't be surprised if it was. I haven't had enough R Factor experience to really test a tire model because I know that's going to be represented as well. So I don't know how that's going to play out, but like I said, I'm very excited for this game. I don't think I've been as excited for a NASCAR game in a long time. So is there like a certain aspect from what you've heard so far from what's been publicly said to us about NASCAR 21? Is there anything that stands out that you're looking forward to the most with this game?
Yeah. So I'll tell you this right now, and a lot of people just go ahead and assume this, but I really don't know anything. People just assume that I know things that people don't know, but in all honesty, I know just as much as the casual fan. Which honestly, I'm kind of glad because I want to be surprised and I want to see the new world of NASCAR gaming just like everybody else because I don't want to separate myself as, I'm me and you're just you. Like I want to be like everybody else. I'm just someone who loves to play NASCAR games and I get to do it as a job, which is great, but I'm just like the casual gamer at the end of the day. So I really don't know that much. But just from what I've been seeing that's public and everything, we saw in that little teaser on Race Hub, and I'll be honest, I honestly was not expecting anything on Race Hub. I really wasn't. I was tuned in because NASCAR game is a huge part of my life, and it's why I'm where I am today. And I see that little 8 to 10 seconds of little footage, and I'm like, whoa, 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 hang on a minute. And I took it frame by frame by frame, and I think there was one frame where you could see cars going by,
Yeah, there
like
was like
by a catch fence, and I'm like, wait, that looks like iRacing. Like that looks legit. And that's the next game right there. So I just think going back to your question, dude, is I think people's expectations should be high. I think people deserve to be excited about this. And I go on Twitter and I see people still down in the dumps and, being negative and not having excitement. And for me, this is and I don't know the actual numbers, but this is like a multi-millionaire company with so many resources and big time investors that's tackling arguably the most popular, if not one of the most popular genres of racing. And I just think the excitement should be up there. And I'm hoping people are just, not looking at this first game of this new series they're doing as the greatest game of all time, because every game is going to have a flaw. I mean, that's just how the world of gaming works. Nothing's going to be perfect, but I think the expectations that people should have is it's going to be good, and this is going to be a good foundation, a good base foundation for what the future of NASCAR gaming is going to provide. But we got pre-race ceremonies in this thing
Yes.
now. We got the flyovers. I haven't seen a flyover in a NASCAR game since 2011 or Inside Line. And even that, and this is Motorsport Games we're talking about here. This is a company that has, a lot of resources. So it's just those little things, and I feel like they're purposely doing it, and they're smiling because they know what's coming up, and they just want to take everybody's breath away, and they're just teasing it slowly and slowly. And I just think the expectations should be great, and I think we're in for a real treat for the first game of a brand new series.
I'm very excited just for like an actual announcement because they've been baiting us so hard. We've been talking about it just about every week
Yeah.
here, and it's just like, oh my god, give it to us already, but it just doesn't come.
You and me
And
both.
A part of it is a part of me is like I was really frustrated it wasn't yesterday because it just felt like they should announce it by now, but maybe that's like a part of it. Like people getting mad that they're not announcing it is like part of the strategy because like it shows people are really
they
interested.
want it so bad now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and like listen, I don't work for the marketing program there.
Yeah.
I don't do anything like that, but I have going to college, I've learned so much about marketing and social media and just kind of understanding these things. I see these little teasers and I'm just kind of smiling and laughing at everyone who's getting frustrated about this. This is pure genius marketing. This is incredible because the NASCAR gaming community is a lot bigger than what people know. It's huge. There's people that played like Thunder 04, Chase for the Cup, Total Team Control, that are still waiting for the next era of NASCAR gaming to truly take off. We had potential with Technics. They had games that were good. They had bugs, but they were good. They kind of went out of business. They lost the license, and then that whole chain of effects happened, which I assume that would be time for another podcast to go through all that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But yeah, but now we're with a company that truly cares, and you could tell they care with what they're trying to do, and with and I smile at what they're doing because I took a step back and really thought about this. Would you rather Motorsport Games promote and hype up a brand new NASCAR game 8 months in advance with a trailer 8 months ago and nothing really to follow through with it 2 months down the road, 4 months down the road, 6 months down the road, when we should know this game? And again, they could just blow they could just blow everyone's breath away. A simple base foundation for what they want to do for the future here. So would you rather have that, or would you rather have a trailer come out and then you get something brand new for an announcement every week leading up to the announcement? Because to me, that's a really good strategy, because if you have news coming out every week about your game with like a month and a half or two or like 4 months before, that time window for people to not be impatient is a lot smaller than 8 to 9 months of waiting. So building up that expectation, and then let's just say all of a sudden they just drop a trailer just like that. And let's just say they announce like, guys, the game comes out in like 2 months or 3 months or something like that. Then, people don't have to wait as long and they're fully invested rather than waiting 9 months. So take it from me, who's someone who's learned about marketing and everything. This is all part of a plan. This is all part of a plan to just blow the NASCAR gaming community's breath away, I think. So I'm not worried one bit.
Is there such thing as waiting too long though?
Is there such
Like, because I have one concern, which is there was like that press briefing with like their investors and stuff a month or
Yeah,
so ago, and it said end of quarter 3, which is September,
Mhm.
and we're basically in August now. Is there a point where you're waiting too long?
I mean, it's a good thing to bring up because, again, this is all part of a marketing plan that they obviously have. And for me, I don't know that marketing plan. I'm just kind of assuming
Yeah.
with what timetable we have because I'm sure everyone has seen that report. Everyone's seen it because it's public knowledge. Motorsport Games is a public company, so any knowledge that they have is going to be presented and it's public to the people. So what do they have planned? I don't know. Is there such a thing as waiting too long? Yeah, of course there is. Of course there is. You don't want to announce a game and then 2 weeks later it comes out. You know what I mean? You don't ever want to do that. You want to at least be able to do some content before the game comes out and show people things. Like my brain right now, and I'm just thinking about this right now, is trailer dropped. Then like 1 week later, Dev Diary number 1 and 2 or something like that. And then like maybe that like the week or 2 weeks before the game comes out, you have that first exclusive gameplay stream with like maybe a NASCAR driver or some developer Q&As live so people can answer their questions about the game and stuff like that. That's my brain thinking of what personally with me with this much time left is what I'm thinking is like, okay, maybe they're trying to do this. I don't know. But um I agree with you. I mean, I think there's definitely a time window where it's like, are we waiting too long? And I'm only hoping Motorsport Games does not wait too long here, and we can get something really soon to get the community even more amped up because I think a lot of people are they're getting impatient, but I understand their impatience though. And trust me, as someone who races professionally with these games, I'm also a casual player, and the casual player in me is saying, I need it now. Show me what you got. Quoting Rick and Morty right there. But show me what you got. I want to see what you got. And then the professional in me is like, take a deep breath. It's going to come out. Just got to wait. So it's definitely a toss up, man. It's a toss up.
I'm most eager to just get some info on the career mode. I'm so hyped.
You
for,
and me both.
that, man. I mean,
You and me both.
obviously, from my perspective, that's my main thing with the YouTube. So I'm just like, oh, give that info to me already. I need to know what's going on there. But I am got very high hopes for the career mode as well. Very excited to get my hands on actually playing that. Now, before we let you go, Joey, we're gonna ask you. I got a couple more questions I'll ask you before you go. Obviously, we may or may not have heard of Sloppy Joe on Twitch. You've been streaming for quite a while now. I want to know, first of all, what actually inspired you to start streaming? Like, I like hearing those stories about how someone got into the idea of doing it, like content creation or streaming. Like, for me, I was inspired by watching a lot of NASCAR and Formula One YouTubers, and I personally, I saw that there was a really cool aspect from F1 YouTubers like Areva and Team at Marduk that wasn't being represented in the NASCAR world. So I was like, I'm going to try and bridge those two kind of content inspirations. And now, obviously, you see what I do there. But what inspired you to start your streaming? And of course, you have done some YouTube as well. So what inspired you to do that?
Yeah. This is a good one, actually. This is a good story. I don't really ever talk about too much of how people always ask me like how I started the eNASCAR thing. They don't ever ask me how I started streaming, like where that came from. So I obviously started streaming on YouTube. You know, YouTube was the first thing I did just to kind of get my toes in the water and kind of experience it a little bit. So this was around like 2017, maybe 28. I think it was definitely 2017, I think. And during this time, I was still in college and I was working a retail job at, where was I working at? I think I was working at Target, I think. Or it was either Target or Best Buy. It was one of those two. Um, Basically, and so I was in a relationship, and I figure some people who may be listening to this now are gonna be like, oh boy, I think I know where this is going. So I was in a relationship that I thought was pretty committed. I thought, you know, everything was going smoothly and whatnot. And for all the people in the back who need to hear this from me, you know, always make sure the person you're with supports you no matter what and helps you chase your goals and pushes you to go for those things. So the person I was with didn't firmly believe that what I was doing, just gaming and league racing and all that, was not worth my time, and it always kind of led to some arguments and everything. And I had this goal and this a feeling in me that I want to start streaming, and I just knew what kind of person I was and how much fun I would have it doing something I love to do, because I was still figuring out what I wanted to do with my life. And I started doing it some nights, and it got to a point where literally I couldn't stream until, like, you know, that person went to bed, just so I could like do my thing. So I was kind of like, I kind of had to like hide my for a little bit on YouTube, and it was nothing big. I had like maybe 2-3 people watching me some nights, which was a good night back then. Just have like 5 people watching you back then, you start tearing up. um so, you know, when this time went on, I kind of told myself I got to tell her this is what I want to try to do. And of course she didn't support that, and eventually, you know, she would start telling me that it's not going to get you anywhere and it's just a waste of time, and you should focus on actually getting a real job and, you know, working from like 9 to 5 in an office or something like that, you know, just stuff like that. So eventually that relationship ended for you know, reasons, and of course, you know, wishing nothing but the best. But you know, those kind of things really motivated me, especially the people who were really close to me at the time, who I thought had my back, did not really have my back. And I took that personally, as Michael Jordan has said. And I wanted to go out there and show that I can do it. And it took a lot of time, man. It really did. And I just kind of started doing some NASCAR lobbies. I started making some YouTube videos and doing like season modes and everything. And I started noticing, I started getting like maybe like 5 to 10 people watching, then like 12 or 13. And I'm like, you know what? I think this can turn into something. So eventually down the road, eNASCAR started. And then that was a real big call to me that, hey, this is my chance to really get the streaming to the next step, because people would love to watch comedy, but they also love to watch someone who knows what they're doing. And I took it upon myself that if I can combine these two things together, who knows what's possible. So converted my streams from YouTube to Twitch, had to pretty much rebuild my audience that I had there over on the Twitch side, which is a topic for another day, because it's not as easy to switch from YouTube to Twitch. You think people are just gonna like jump right on over. It doesn't happen like that, which is crazy to me.
Twitch is rough.
It can be rough. It can be very, very rough. But once you get to where you are, you can look back and you have no regrets. But yeah. So just over that course of time, just had a lot of people not just I had a lot of people that just didn't believe in me and doubt me for my goals and my dreams. And I really wanted to do something and push myself to where I can look back and say, you know, what else can you say? And now I've gotten to a point where, you know, I have 70 plus people on average watching me, sometimes 80, 90, 100. And without having a functionable YouTube channel too, able to do that on NASCAR, I love, not everybody loves. It's it's pretty surreal how everything's come together. But to answer your question, that's where it all kind of started.
And obviously, you've proven her wrong because it is working out very well for you.
Yeah.
Um,
With a
two
lot more to
more,
go too.
a lot
Yeah.
more to go. That's
Yeah.
a question coming up too. But two more quick questions for myself. Actually, Matt here, he streams and whatnot on Twitch. He has a small little following, kind of building up too, which is cool to watch happen. I'm actually going to be starting streaming somewhat soon. I'm going to keep it on YouTube though, but I got fiber internet coming finally. But do you
Ooh.
have any tips for people starting out wanting to stream like you were in that position a few years ago? And I mean, I can definitely listen really good on this one, so I can keep this in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, when it comes to streaming, don't look at it as you're making a video. You're live. This is your show. This is your time to shine and show people who you are and just have fun. Sometimes I would tell people to, when you're first getting started, don't even look at the camera. Just game and talk and have fun. Eventually grow some confidence with the web camera if that's your issue. If not, it's more of finding what you're comfortable with and growing that audience. You know, find a game that you're good at that you can not just have to sit there staring at the game and to focus 100%, but you can play it casually and talk to people. And if they have questions, help them out. And to me, when it comes to streaming, a very important thing for anyone out there who wants to do it is to always engage with your audience. At the end of the day, it's not the game you're playing that makes your stream. It's the people in your chat that make your stream. It's the people that are taking time out of their day to watch you do what you love to do. And I always put that in the back of my head when I'm streaming is that, you know, I got 60 plus people watching me play NASCAR Heat when they simply could just go on by themselves and play by themselves. But they decide to come in here and watch me do it, which means a lot. So I always tell people who are starting out, don't look at just 2 to 3 people watching or 20 or 25 and say, that's a bad night. You got to tell yourself, roughly, that's a classroom people watching you because they love you, they love your content, and they know that there's something special with you. And I just always tell people that. And if I had like one more tip when it comes to streaming, don't ever be discouraged. Don't ever listen to people who, whether they're close to you, whether they just want to see you fail, or whether they're family and friends and you thought they always had your back and they think what you're doing is not real and it's not going to get you anywhere. You take that, you put it back in your body, and you use that as motivation. And once you're motivated, the possibilities are absolutely endless when it comes to streaming. So, long story short, be you. Don't take any nonsense from anybody, whether they're close or far away. And just always remember that your chat and the people that are watching make your stream every single night. And those are my 3 tips right there.
I love that. I feel inspired actually after that.
Yes, boy.
Hey, you're taking advice from the guy that named himself after a sandwich, all right? So I mean, that's that. I mean,
I named myself
that's
after a
on.
comedian.
Okay. I really had to sit for a second. Wait, did he actually do that? No.
We'll ask you one more. I got one more question for you before I let you go. So, say, look, maybe what, 5 years down the line, maybe a little bit more early, 3 years. Where do you hope to see yourself? I guess not only in the streaming world, but of course that as well, but as well in just the future of eNASCAR Pro League racing. Where do you hope to find yourself in those two communities in 3 to 5 years?
That's a good one. That's a good one. In 5 years, so what is that? That's going to be 2026. Okay.
Yeah.
By 2026, obviously Twitch partner would be something I could see myself maybe in like 2 years even. With how we're growing. If I decide to keep driving, obviously I would love to keep driving. With that many years down the road, I can only imagine what drivers would be able to do by that point in eNASCAR. If not, I would love to see myself working for Motorsport Games as part of their creative team, or part of helping building that community, like Rusty Walrus is doing, who's one of my really good friends and one of my biggest supporters. I just want to help build this genre of gaming into what it possibly can be at the end of the day. Whether it's best for me to be behind the driver's seat and stream, or be behind the scenes and be part of the team that helps these games grow and listen to fans and get feedback and all that stuff. So really, at the end of the day, man, I just want to be here working for the sport that I love, whether it's me as a driver or streamer, or me behind the scenes, maybe even calling the races in the pro league and being a broadcaster or an announcer. Those are things I definitely would love to do, and I think I got a good B-roll already of what I can do. So we got that at least behind my back, which is good. But yeah, and I think by then too, not trying to get too personal, but I'm in a really good relationship now with Jordan. Many people know her from my streams, and I imagine by that point, not settled down, but obviously, be comfortable, have my own house maybe, and start a family down the road too, while still doing this and everything. And yeah, I got a very big vision for what I want to do, but hopefully it's involving NASCAR gaming for probably the rest of my life with my career.
I hope for the same thing, man. I want to be a part of the NASCAR community for as long as I can. And you mentioned the little broadcasting side too with the commentating. That's something I would love to have a hand in. I gotta influence
As would
the
I.
NASCAR Heat guys to let me hop in or something. Be like, hey,
It's so much fun. I had a beach tropical storm internet when I called the Pocono race a few weeks back, and I got that opportunity from Motorsport Games to do that with Rusty. And even though my audio wasn't that good, it was just so much fun. I don't even know. Did I even tell you that I couldn't even see the race? I didn't have the broadcast.
you mentioned it. I did hear about that. I think you tweeted
so
about that, right?
Yeah, so I literally had to call it by ear from what Rusty was saying, and then I had the big brainstorm move of the day to just pull up the Twitch stream. Even though I was like 3 seconds behind, I was able to kind of call the PlayStation race, and everything. So that was a great experience. I sweated a bucket for being so nervous from all the technical issues I was having, but it was fun.
And that's all that matters. We're having fun at the end of the day. Obviously, we really appreciate you, Joey, coming on, and we wish the best of luck to you. And you were only the second guest we ever had, but I think, you know what, so far you're my favorite one. Obviously, I'm going to be biased, but it was an absolute pleasure having you on the show. We're going to let you get away now. And yeah, once again, thank you for coming out. Anything you want to say before you go?
Yeah, I don't know how plugs work here, but hey, if you guys ever
Whatever
want to
you
watch,
want, man.
if you guys ever want to watch some NASCAR E5 streams and be part of the Sloppy Lobbies, the greatest show on Heat, I gotta get that trademarked. But follow me at it's sloppy_Joe on Twitch. You can find me there for public lobbies on NASCAR E5 and YouTube as well, sloppy_Joe, which I guess I can say here is officially coming back next week. We got a full-time editor working with me. So YouTube is coming back full force. It's a huge help, and we have a really big vision because we want to be just like GOWEN one day and have that YouTube channel blowing up one day, and doing some awesome collabs with them as well. So if you guys want to follow me, YouTube, Twitch, pretty simple. And yeah, make sure to follow these guys too. They're awesome.
Very kind of you. Yeah, we might be collaborating soon on something. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, once again, thank you for taking the time, Joey. And we are going to go for a really quick break, and we'll be right back here in just a few moments. And we're back here from the podcast episode 27. Big thank you to you, Joey Stone, for joining us here on the show today. Hopefully we'll have more in the future. We took a real quick break there, but we are back, and we're not moving on from NASCAR just yet. We have a little bit of F1 to talk about, some Nitro Racing League to talk about and whatnot coming up here in a little bit. Obviously, there wasn't a whole lot to talk about this week with it being an off week, and we still have one more to go. So I'm surprised. What's that?
Hungry's this week, though.
Yeah, we do have at least F1 to talk about next week with the actual race. Hopefully, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe some silly season news or something came out next week on it, but who knows. But what we're going to do is actually touch a little bit more on NASCAR 21. I'll tell you what Joey was talking about with the whole marketing thing, I feel like kind of persuaded me a little bit.
A
My
little bit.
opinions
Yeah,
kind
that
of
definitely
changed.
definitely gave me a different perspective. That okay, maybe they shouldn't have announced it back in May like we were calling for, but we are at the end of July now. I mean, I
3
think
days away from August.
I think we're a little bit past where they should have announced it. That at the very least, they probably should have done it at the early or beginning of July. Um, so I think we are into that period of it being a little bit too late now. But he's got a point that they're teasing it and building up hype for it, and they should
Mhm.
continually build up the hype each week until the game
and
comes out.
and even like obviously completely different game and stuff, but Call of Duty's done this now because like I mean we've all played Call of Duty, right? At
Yes,
some point,
yes.
they would always announce the games in like May or April, right? Early in the year, right?
Yeah.
Aside from Modern Warfare, I think Modern Warfare they did
No,
like a
Modern
full
War,
year before.
yeah, Modern Warfare was really early, but what they've done now, and it's happening again this year. You can say whatever you want about Cold War. They didn't announce it till August,
We've honestly kind of seen that whole direction change for
and then
like across the board for gaming in general.
yeah, I mean like um it is interesting that it is like because we don't even know what this year's Call of Duty is technically. Like we leakers we know what it is, but they haven't formally announced it yet. So and I feel like a lot of games are doing it. I mean like
I mean, we had that Forza announcement. We had, but we think back to
yeah
the Xbox thing, like 50% of those games that were announced are coming out within 4 or 5 months of the
yeah,
actual
and there's like
thing,
one or
and most
two
of them are coming out even sooner than 4 or 5 months.
yeah. And I'm thinking back of games. Borderlands 3 in 2019, they announced it at E3. It came out 4 months, like 5 months later. A
Fallout
lot of
4.
bigger, a lot of yeah. Fallout 4 is another one they did really quick. Obviously, there's still games that they take forever and stuff, but I
Um,
mean, I'm also with the Joey part where like once they do announce this game, it's going to be an influx of stuff, insane. It's an insane
gonna
amount
Oh
get
of
yeah,
hyped
stuff.
we're
to
we're at the point
oblivion.
now where it'll probably be constant things up until the actual release. We'll get something new to talk about every week and all that.
So last night on NASCAR Race Hub, they did this little throwback NASCAR arcade thing showing like the past of NASCAR games. I didn't even tune into it, but I did see what I needed to with the NASCAR 21 stuff on like Twitter and whatnot, and it was very, very brief. One quick note, actually, they finally confirmed officially that it is going to be we're going to have NASCAR on Nintendo Switch. That was already
Yeah,
leaked in those like
yeah,
documents
it
and
was kind of
stuff,
new.
so we already knew that was coming. But they finally actually confirmed it. But we still did not get an official announcement for NASCAR 21. But we did get a few tiny, tiny little teasers that lasted for like 7 seconds. And
Yeah,
what
we
we
got
saw
16 seconds.
16 seconds. Okay, so there was one promising thing that I saw, but before we get into it, they had a little um, pass by of the cars at Homestead,
Yep.
Miami, and it was like you were behind the catch fence. You could just see them whizzing by, and someone in my Discord, I can't remember who it was, but they had paused the frames and took some screenshots. And just based off of that, when they had the cars paused and you could see them, they looked really good. Obviously, I don't know if it's a trailer footage type deal, and obviously it's always going to look better. But it really it really looked good. I thought. I don't know if you guys saw those or not. Um, but the thing that actually stood out to me was a simple flyover of the airplanes
Mhm.
and just kind of teasing at this little pre-race thing. Obviously, we don't know how far they're going to go into it, but that's something that is just or it adds to the immersion so much, especially when you're doing like a career mode and stuff. So I was really happy to just see that little bit of a teaser. I did love your tweet, Matt. I opened up Twitter and it was like, "Man, we've seen more planes in the new NASCAR game than cars." And I was like, "Oh my god, that's a fire tweet right there."
I was like, I just thought, I was like, man, we've actually seen more planes now. I was like, this is Twitter gold,
That
and
that's a tweet
zero
that
likes.
deserved to pop off. I was like, man, I'm gonna go tweet that too, but I didn't bother. Um, but what did I mean? Obviously, like I said, there wasn't much to see, but I'm assuming we all kind of saw that as the kind of standout point. I would assume.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all agree. We kind of all felt debated.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So, like, we all fell for it, and and we were all expecting, like, man, this has to be it. This has to be it. No, no, it's
yeah. I'll
just
admit, as frustrating as it was to not have the game announced, mainly because I was just under the assumption that it was going to be announced based on they were doing a throwback night to games. They had the Motorsport Games CEO on there, so it was like,
and NASCAR Heat was
okay, this
tweeting
is
about it.
yeah. So
Rusty
it was like, all
Walrus
right, this is
was.
finally it. This is time to see the trailer for the game, and then it's a tiny clip. And so like that part was frustrating, but also at the same time it got me hyped because holy crap, we just saw a flyover. Like that's
Yeah.
cool. That's gonna be cool to have that in the game, but it was also equally as frustrating to not have the announcement be last night. But I am excited to have flyovers and whatever else pre-race stuff they decide to have in the
hmm
game.
hmm
Because it as far as in depth as we can go as possible is cool to me. Not just have it be show up, race, done, move
Yeah.
on to the next one.
Right. Which is what we currently have, unlike
Yeah,
F1 who
Yeah.
has like
and we
a
have
You
F1
had
have
has
for a
like
your
long time.
yeah
we have
F-
our 30-second
yeah
Rick Allen spiel.
F1 has a 2-minute pre-show. It's great, incredible. They
Yeah.
do a great job with that, and I was not surprised they didn't announce it officially. Like I was hoping they were going to, but I wasn't surprised simply because I was just like, man, like a 6:45 p.m. Eastern time announcement just doesn't seem to fit in well. And sure
And
enough,
also, I was thinking, like, yesterday, like, I was at work and, like, because it was obviously on my mind. I mean, it's like, this could be it, right? And I was like, man, it would be really weird for them to. Yes, I know it's a NASCAR TV show, but it's just weird that they would announce it on a TV show.
I thought that too. I was just like, that don't make sense.
But at this
Obviously, like
point,
a lot of
nothing about
NASCAR
their
fans
mark.
watch, but I mean, not
Yeah.
enough to announce your game on there, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's. To us, it seems very bizarre what they're doing.
And
Yeah, that's because we don't know what's going on either. Maybe once everything starts happening and starts, stuff starts moving forward and all that, maybe we'll look back and go, "Oh, that's why." And who knows? But at the moment, this looks absurd. And please just release it already.
something.
Like,
My goodness
I,
gracious.
I had this feeling. It's like, all right, Q3. It means, in theory, the game comes up September. We are now essentially 1 month away.
Yeah, but it's going to be late September or
You think?
middle at the absolute earliest.
Well, going back to old NASCAR heat releases. If we go by the NASCAR Evolution through 4, the game should come out September 10th.
I don't think it will, because it obviously it's not completely different, but it's motorsport games. I feel like they've got a little different strategy. I think it's a mid to late September release. Obviously, we still don't know. And Matt
Yeah.
could be very well
Well,
right.
here's my thing. Also, when is it too late into the season? I mean, I honestly think September is too late into the season.
Right at the start of the playoffs area, right? And I think
Yeah.
obviously the earlier you can release your sports game compared to the actual season, the better. Like NHL releases it basically just before preseason starts. NFL, I don't know. I'm sure they release it just before their season.
Let me just type in Madden 22 and see when it comes out.
That comes out late August.
It's the 17th, so even before the preseason.
And they, the thing about that is though, is they just announced Madden 22
Like
at the
a month
beginning of
ago.
this month.
Yeah.
So I mean,
But here's another thing with this not announcing it. It makes sense for Madden games or like any established brand to do this, announce it a month or two before the game, because that's established. This new NASCAR franchise, whatever it is, isn't technically established. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see how it plays out at this point. Because I mean, at this point, I'm done making predictions when this thing's going to get announced. And I mean, like Rusty Walrus on Twitter has been saying for like the last 3 weeks, soon, 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 soon. And we're just sitting here.
I mean, we got to be getting close. Obviously, we'll
Yeah.
see here soon.
I think
I'm
the
sure.
thing that's like makes it so frustrating as well is because there is so much potential for this new game and so much new stuff to be excited about that we've already had slightly confirmed, but there's also still a whole lot of details left out, and we've just, I mean, just the new engine and the physics stuff alone, basically the only two things we've gotten confirmed about this game so far is enough to build up so much hype that this is why we're sitting here desperately like, please just announce it already. It's time. Announce it. Normally, if this were NASCAR Heat 4 going, if we were playing NASCAR Heat 4 still waiting on NASCAR Heat 5, we probably wouldn't care. But we've only gotten two things announced so far, and they're so huge and they're so hyped up that it's gotten us ready just to have them announce it now. So I can only think that they are doing this on purpose and will have a ton of stuff to give us all at once whenever they decide to start releasing it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to wait and see what happens. Obviously, we still don't know much. We don't know any more than we did last week, really, other than flyover is in the game now. So, we will stay with the NASCAR gaming realm before we move on. Nitro was this past weekend
Okay.
at the regular season finale at Michigan.
And
I
then
did
there
not
was
show up.
there was also F1 Coda, and then
I also
Richmond
did not show
iRacing.
up. Yeah, I did not
You
show
didn't
up
show
to
up then.
that either. Sunday, I actually I can't even remember why. Oh, because I was like I didn't feel like racing and then having to go straight to bed to race or go to work the next morning. Saturday, I just downright didn't feel like it. But
You
it
probably
was
missed the
an
best race of the
F1. But
season.
Matt, you're gonna be kind of leading most of this. But
I
what
wasn't
happened?
at F1 either because I had a situation.
Oh, that's
Yeah, I
right.
was the only one that showed up for F1
Jay, what
out of us
happened in
three.
F1 then?
Andrew won. Pretty sure Gale wound up finishing second.
Yeah. And then
There
Mahu was
wasn't.
third.
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot like of craziness that went down. Puck had some extremely good pace, and he chose a really good
Yes.
strategy as well. And he was on the podium until the very last lap
Yeah, until
when
time
Mahu got
penalties.
him. Oh,
I
there's time penalties. I thought it
my
was 25.
situation was probably the most exciting thing of the race.
Oh no, there was a whole MJ thing that went down.
Oh, what happened?
Yeah, well, before we were gonna start, he asked if he could use the bathroom, and somebody already hit A, so he had to hold it. And then towards the end of the race, he had some really good pace when it was starting to make up positions, and then he mentioned having to like really needed to use the bathroom, and so some of the people started trolling, like talking about water or making water sounds or whatever, which I mean, technically should not have actually worked, but somehow it did. And he wound up having to go so bad that he just completely dumped his shit into the wall. And I don't know how it didn't cause a safety car like
Oh, that's why
the
he
guy
did
in
it.
China. Yeah,
Because I
he
was watching
full on,
Gale's stream,
yeah,
but there was like no party chat.
he full on just sent it into the wall. And I'm honestly surprised it didn't cause a safety car. I was expecting a dumb safety car to come out, and then we have another situation like we had with
China.
yeah, I can't remember who it was, but
And you know what happens then?
yeah, that's why I was kind of like, oh boy, but a
He's a lucky boy.
So yeah,
He's a lucky boy.
yeah.
Um,
And it wound up. I mean, I was kind of happy that it happened because it wound up saving my race, and I chose a bad setup and then a really bad strategy, so I was off on pace terribly, and so it wound up keeping me in, I think, eighth, seventh or eighth, whatever it
yeah.
was.
Um,
And thank goodness because I need to gain some points.
um. So my situation was interesting.
You had a tornado.
There was a tornado. So I'm in the lobby. I know there's storms coming. And the tornado sirens go off. I'm like, oh no. I'm like, guys, I'm gonna have to leave. Tornado sirens are going off.
I was gonna mention it, but I never did. I was gonna say just go into qualifying and then see what happens, and if you can't, if qualifying
here's the thing. Here's the
ends,
thing.
then
The tornado warning was till 9.
oh,
Yeah,
well,
so nothing.
wouldn't have made a difference then.
Yeah, I mean, hindsight is I could have erased it, but
Yeah, but you never
Nah.
know. So yeah.
yeah, nothing. But there was a actual tornado, not close to me, but yeah. Actually, this is crazy. I guess I'll talk about it because tornado, right? So my grandpa's in like a care center, not necessarily like a nursing home, more like a rehabilitation type thing, because he's just trying to get some of his strength back. And he's been there for a while, and the tornado was right by him. Apparently, it missed him by 200 feet.
Oh, really? Was it a big
Yeah, I was like,
tornado? Do you know what
I
scale it
don't,
was?
I don't know. But my mom went to see him yesterday, I guess, and she said it was a complete detour to get there.
Huh.
So like the middle of this town, it's like one of those like rural old towns
Right.
where like the buildings are like really like rectangular, blocky. You know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about? And apparently, like the entire like little downtown area is like damaged to all hell. So I'll have to look into it, and I'm gonna have to drive up there and check it out myself. But yep, crazy week. Thankfully, my grandfather is okay, and yeah, that's why I missed the F1 race. I did not miss the Cup race because the storms passed by then.
Yeah, I think I had
Uh,
the same storm cell come through.
yeah,
Obviously, it
because
wasn't nearly as severe when it got to me, but
yeah, and
it was more like just rain and a
for
little bit of thunder and lightning.
yeah,
And you were in Gail's chat sending messages, and Gail was reading them out, and some of the ones you were sending were really funny.
the guys, the entire sky is white. There was a lot of lightning, man, and it was just a constant thunder roar. It's like, "Bleh." But yeah, I guess we can go. I can go into the Cup race, Michigan.
Rafting.
High draft.
Oh, it was Hydra. Oh,
Oh
I
yeah.
should have unretired for her race.
Yeah, I mean, if you did, you probably make the playoffs, XD.
Yeah,
You actually
probably.
would. You needed 18 points.
Jeez. Well, whatever.
Um, yeah, Jonathan in my chat said it was the best race of the season. I would agree. There was only 2 cautions in this race, by the way. But there was a lot of like 3 and 4 wide shenanigans, and it was just crazy. But yeah, people know in the Toyota chat, I was very upset at the end of this one because I threw it away.
It's always Michigan where you find a way to somehow do that.
Yeah, Michigan. Yeah, I'm destined never to win this race, so never gonna win my home track apparently. But it was a stage 3 had no caution, so literally at the end of the race it was just me, Mahu, and Jonathan just all together. It was just us 3, no one else even close. Jonathan was in the lead. I had to run down the back, so I was like, I have to take it. And this is coming to the white, and I had full intentions of moving him up the track a bit. So when I hit him, my car just went straight, and then Mahu went under both of us, and we were 3 wide coming to the line, and then Mahu was just able to clear, and we couldn't get back. So
Oof.
I was sad boy. You can watch it on my YouTube channel.
Oh.
And what's that YouTube channel, Karma?
Karma MGO.
Oh. What?
But,
Hey, who did the thumbnail? Oh.
No, hey, you're the one that wanted to do it.
I know, and it looks great. For
Yeah.
what I was given, anyways. What I had to work with. The
I never
parameters.
I didn't wreck.
I know. I'm just saying.
Hey, there's one thing I've learned about Gary. Him and his thumbnails are like, he takes them seriously. I think he takes his thumbnail more seriously than he does the actual video.
Man, thumbnails are important, man. I love them.
Hey, they are important. I agree.
I just
Yeah,
like making an appealing picture for my video. We're gonna have one heck of a thumbnail for this podcast just because of Joey. You did iRacing, right?
Yeah,
How did that go?
I lapped the field. Okay.
What track? Oh, Richmond. That's right.
Yeah. No, it was no contest. I lapped the field.
So
That's
next
pretty
up,
much
we
all
got
I
to get
did.
rid of Matt, right?
All right. Here's the thing: you didn't show up, and Chaffee didn't show up.
Who was your biggest competition?
That Jacob guy and Gary Bingaman.
Okay.
And we know Bingaman struggles with saving tires, so like literally at lap 50, I had like a 5-second lead, and I was like, oh, okay.
Just a cruiser.
Yeah, there was only 6 people.
Oh, rip.
Yeah, I was like, man, Gary, why did you have to do this to me? But next week in iRacing is Dover, so I'm thinking about shortening the races a bit too.
I think we
because-
should.
Yeah, I mean,
Even
Dover's
if there
supposed-
was more people, I think they should still be a little bit shorter.
Yeah, I mean, Dover's supposed to be 200. I was thinking 150 would be good. Right?
Yeah,
That
I
seems
say
like
cut it to there.
Yeah. So that's probably what it's gonna be, but that's iRacing struggles with turnout for some reason. We will never know. But I guess one thing we could talk about, Gary, real quick, is it's playoff time.
It is playoff time.
It is.
My mic cut out. Whoops. Okay, I think we're good now.
Yeah, you're good.
I think I'm coming in with what, 3 wins or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have 3, Andrew has 3, Mahu has 3, Jonathan has 1, and Jonathan has 2. I have 1. That's it. Because Outbreak left.
How many non-winners made the playoffs?
7.
Wow. I honestly was not expecting that coming into this season.
Well, then you see the guys who won, and you're just like, oh, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. And then we've also had, Eddie was the only winner who left, but
Yeah. So, I mean, I think everyone's in the same who's going to be the final 4. So, I mean, barring Talladega, I think everyone kind of thinks it's going to be Jonathan, Mahu, Andrew, and Gary. I'd
yeah.
imagine. Then
I mean,
Talladega.
there's certainly the potential for some surprises there. With
I
that
mean,
last round.
yeah, and also, I mean, you can look at the playoff point gap. You're like, man, that's not as comforting as past seasons.
Not at all.
Yeah.
And I mean, especially going into Talladega, if Gary's already locked in and even happens to already be locked in or near locked in,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, we all know how Toyota works together at play
Yeah.
tracks, and who knows, maybe I'll make a surprise return.
Oh.
Very, very
Okay,
possible
but
that the 19 can find himself out front and win that race and put himself in the final 4. I'm just saying.
That would never happen at a play track. But
Toyota's leading at a play track? Nah, not at all.
okay, it's Bristol this week. We always say Bristol's gonna be a carnage fest, but it actually never is. So
I'm looking at these playoffs too, and like I feel like I could have done decent, but I didn't. I just was not enjoying myself anymore.
I mean, to be honest, I haven't really been enjoying myself too much either. Just
Yeah,
like
exactly. The
I'm
season's
just kind of
been-
done. I'm just.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, the season's been bad. It's just everyone's kind of done with.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of we've been on this game for way too long.
Essentially 3 seasons. Cause
Yeah.
he forced the same thing.
And we've also just like, I don't know, everybody's been driving without their heads this season. Everybody, including me, including you, everybody.
Yeah.
We've all been driving like
We've
idiots,
all-
Punted
sitting
people
I've
for
ourselves over
wins
the
this
edge.
season.
Yeah. I tried punting Jonathan for a win.
Hey.
But I mean, you probably missed it, Gary, but I mean, I think everyone kind of has the same idea who the final 4 is gonna be.
Andrew
Most
Wisdom.
like you, Jonathan, and Mahu, most likely.
Oh yeah,
But,
I mean, we'll see.
it really does come down to we'll see.
All I'm gonna say is, I'll say it publicly. If I can't win the championship, I'm gonna try as hard as possible to make sure one of those drivers as well does not win the championship.
I wonder who it is. But it's Bristol. It'll be interesting. So, and then another weird thing is so what Combat said, huh, Gary?
No. Oh wait, the no
more
setups.
setups.
Yeah, no more setups.
I don't give a crap. We got Jonathan.
He doesn't make setups.
All right, we got you.
Presets, baby.
I might have made a little something. So
I'll be honest, like
Andrew-
my care level is not high enough to be like,
Yeah.
oh no, I don't got a preset setup. I'm gonna get eliminated.
I
I
fall at
think
that level.
honestly, honestly, setup wise, I feel like there was only one track where I really felt it,
I agree with that.
and that's Auto Club.
For me, it was Chicago.
Auto Club, the thing was on fire.
That thing was insane. But
It was
like
busting.
Michigan,
I'm
like
still
what
pissed.
kind?
I'm still pissed. I missed Auto Club. Ugh.
No, okay, here's my thing with it. What I was gonna say, like Michigan, I didn't even use what Combat gave me. I looked at it and I was like, that ain't gonna be right. And it turned out not to be. And Jonathan didn't use it either. And me and him were the fastest Yoders. So,
I
but
can mention what I'll do. What I'm planning to do for next season as well. Unless the replay system is kind of the same as it is now, or worse, or whatever. If it's not improved, the new NASCAR game, I'll probably return to racing. If it is improved, then I'm gonna go to doing a commentary role in Nitro, and spectating the races and streaming it and commentating it, and probably turning it into videos as well. This is something Gary and I talked about doing, and Gary actually brought up the original idea way before this season started. I think it might even have been during last season. And then I mentioned that I'd want to do it with him. But I don't know what Gary plans to do at the moment. He said he's kind of wanting to still race next year, so at the moment it might just be me doing it by myself, and he doesn't care if I do it. So
Well, for me,
that's
I'm
probably
like,
what I wind up doing.
where's me racing in the Nitro Racing League gonna get me in a content perspective versus turning it into a big broadcasted thing? I think the broadcasting way would take me further as a content creator than just here I am racing in it. I will
That's kind of the
say,
same way I feel about it too, and
I will,
that's
like
why
I
I thought that'd
said,
be a great idea, and I enjoy commentating. But sorry, go
right.
ahead.
So do I. And I think you and I would be a really dynamic duo for it. And obviously, if the broadcasting system, spectating system in the next game is really good, the broadcasting thing for me is going to definitely be, the process will be sped up. Like I said, I think guaranteed, if it's great, I still want to try and at least do one season. Just because it's on the new game, the new physics and whatnot. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. We don't really know what's going on yet, so a decision will come at a later date there. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of cool things that could be in the works at least. I will say that for the first season, obviously I'll have the fiber internet. Hopefully I can actually stream my POVs. I think that'd be a lot better versus making it into a video for me on YouTube.
yeah,
But we'll have to
You
wait
could
and
probably
see.
just straight up stream that instead of doing
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
videos on it.
Yeah.
You no
Um,
longer upload it.
Exactly.
uh,
Obviously, like I'll leave it up on the channel.
Yeah.
And like a little like unlisted thing where you can just go in actually to the playlist because I don't want to clutter it. But obviously, a lot of stuff to look forward to in Nitro. First race of the playoffs. This is this weekend. You said it's where, Matt?
Bristol.
Bristol. Okay, that's going to be an interesting one. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. I've had some decent success there.
We say it's gonna be like a carnage fest, but honestly,
not.
Bristol never is.
It's not,
It
no.
never is. We're probably gonna have a 100-lap green flag run at some point.
I can guarantee for sure that'll happen.
Yeah.
The past races I've done there have been really clean, but
yeah.
moving
Hey,
on.
Gary,
What?
No, there's a few more things I want to talk about it. So no, Gary, it's playoff time, so you know what that means with me.
Oh, roadblock.
Moving chicane.
Maybe not. We'll see.
He was so frustrating last season.
In Bristol,
I was like,
specifically.
I was like, dude, get out of the way. I didn't want to. At that last season, I was at that point where I was like, I ain't punting him. But now this season, I'm like, I don't give a crap. Like, get out of the way.
And then, I'm kind of realized because I've been trying to, plan for next season a little bit, especially with like who's going to be where in Toyota. And I just realized there's a big problem. There's a huge problem actually. So you got the 4 JGR boys, the boys, right? The 95 is essentially the 23. The 66 is confirmed in the game because it was one of the cars in the speeding by on that like 10-second clip, right? I looked like frame by frame on it. The 66 is one of them. And then we might have the 96. So besides the 4 JGR boys, there's 3 seats for let's just go through possible drivers. Gale, Jay, Kermit, Combat, Mahu. Bono, we have a problem.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how to feel.
I'll still be in the 11, so that's all that matters for me.
Yeah. I don't think we have to worry about anyone at JGR changing.
I'm happy with
But-
where I'm at.
Yeah. But because Mahu is gonna be it's gonna be like the Mahu sweepscapes. Where is he gonna go?
Hopefully not Hendrick.
Well, spoiler alert, I have talked to him about it.
And what's come
But
out
I'll
of
say
that?
that's about as much as that's come out of it.
Okay.
He is being very quiet about it. I have a feeling what he's gonna do, but personally, what I think he's going to do is he's probably gonna go to a Chevy, but he isn't gonna be affiliated with Andrew in any way. He's gonna do his own thing. Is what I think he's going to end up doing. But
Okay.
that's just what I think with how quiet he's being. But then
I'll also be the first to say for myself, put me at the bottom of that list, just because A, I don't know what I'm doing yet, and B, if I do come back, as much as I would like to stay with Toyota, I'll I can always go drive the 21 or something else.
because the main thing for me is I got Kermit in the freaking truck series, and Frank. Now he's racing, doing Xfinity races, and like he's faster than all the Xfinity guys too. So he's gonna be in Cup next year, and I've already told him like I want him in with us. So kid's fast as fuck.
Is there anything else you had to point
Uh,
about?
I guess let me think. F1's Mexico this week. Yay! I
Fun.
like Mexico. I like Mexico.
Not a huge fan of driving there in single player, but I don't mind it in league racing.
Yeah, because it can get pretty wild, and pit strategies are all over the place at Mexico too. Also, setup choices there too are everywhere
Yeah.
because you can do 4 or 2. But I'm a bigger fan of 4 because you can actually pass people. But
That's what I'll probably be doing.
yeah,
It'll help a lot in Sector 2.
yeah.
Um,
No, 2. No, Sector 2 is the S's. That's where you would want preset 2.
oh yeah, preset 2 is the higher downforce, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's right. Well, either way, who cares? I'll figure it out when we get there.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. If you actually try, you'll probably win. But
I don't know. We'll see. I got the pace still. I just have
Yeah.
to. Not
I'm
be
really
an
good at
idiot.
Mexico too. I have some good expectations going in that one.
But we'll move on to some. Well, actually, we're not going to move on into F1 yet. We have very few things to talk about still with NASCAR that are really just kind of quick points. Kyle Busch was still twerking over the off break there.
Kyle Busch was wildin'.
I clicked his Instagram story. Unfortunately, he's back from his break. I clicked on his Instagram story, and like I just watched this man rip a towel to the ground, and then just start throwing it back. And I'm like, dear God, like this is like the coolest dude on the planet right now.
Something tells me there might have been alcohol involved.
Probably.
I don't know why you would say that.
I gained a lot of like respect and love for Kyle Busch over the off season break.
I
thingy.
mean, I've always known he's a cool dude, and especially when it comes to his fans and everything. Just never personally liked him as a driver, but I never expected to see Kyle Busch full on twerking like 7 different times over the past couple of weeks.
Especially to the offspring. Oh Jesus, that's amazing.
Like my
I love
goodness.
Kyle Busch
Denny
is great.
Hamlin Denny Hamlin got overthrown by Kyle Busch for having the most wild and I guess social media in general, and like the bar got set way high by Kyle really
Yeah.
fast,
Denny's been kind of
way above
quiet
everybody
lately
else.
on Twitter.
Yeah.
I'm like, where's
Besides
that
the
next
one,
fire tweet coming?
yeah, except that one thing he might have hinted at about today. Well, it wasn't like a fire tweet, but yeah.
He's gonna come back. He's got this. I believe in him. But as
But
well as
I'm talking about the next gen thing.
yeah. Well, speaking of next gen, Drew Herring
Yeah.
apparently crashed the car in testing.
Yeah. So this is just a rumor, and nothing confirmed. Don't even take anything to it. But the rumor, I've seen a rumor where it's his car hit PJ1 and it just died.
No more
And
PJ1.
I'm just like, oh no.
To be fair, that PJ1 is normally slippery no matter what until it gets worked in.
Yeah, but like, for me. I don't necessarily buy it just because it's like it's still a stock car. You think it would work just like it would in the Gen 6, but you just don't know.
Well, you also don't know what they were running with the car because they were there to do sensor testing.
It was high
so-
high downforce for sure because the
Well,
videos.
yeah, no, but I mean, like they're running sensors and stuff, so they got
Mhm.
stuff on the wheels and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, you never know
Mhm.
how that made the car handle with the PJ1.
And and just listening, it's just like it seemed like they were just going full throttle around the track.
Yeah, that was the one video
Yeah.
that Texas Motor Speedway posted. And it
Yeah,
was,
and I'm just like, man, maybe iRacing is going to be closer than we thought. And
well, I
I'm
guess it
just,
just depends on what
Well-
downforce they decide to go with.
I think they're gonna go in the high throttle route. And I think if
Yeah.
NASCAR sticks with that idea, they're going down the wrong direction.
So do
and-
I.
and I mean, another thing is like, I don't know if you guys watched the Coke Series race last night.
I
No.
was in and out of it. I didn't pay a whole lot of attention, but I had it on in the background the whole time.
Yeah, the next gen thing is very interesting to see if it's anything like what we're seeing in iRacing. If it's literally gonna be slot car racing.
I think you'll see a lot of drivers dip out of NASCAR sooner than they planned on.
If it turns out to be the way it's looking like right now, yeah,
100%.
Because I'm starting to believe this is what's gonna happen. This is what NASCAR actually wants. And I'm not sure. I'm not too sure what I want to think about it.
They're gonna get themselves dethroned in North America by Formula One.
If this turns out to be like the case, I agree. I wouldn't be surprised.
It's unfortunate, but
If they can get to the point where they perfect it to where it, even though it's slower and easier to drive, it produces consistently exciting to watch racing, then I don't think it's going to drop off that hard. The drivers may obviously care, but from a fan perspective, like, you know, for
But-
all we know, we can get some really good, exciting racing with this stuff. It just may not be what the drivers like.
it almost feels gimmicky, you know?
Yeah, that's my.
Yeah, that's true.
And here's the.
But the thing is so we just had SRX run these last 6 weeks, and they had a lot of gimmicks in it, but the gimmicks made it exciting. They made it
But
fun.
they were. I don't
But
know.
here's the
It
thing with the
felt
gimmicks.
different.
Here's the thing with the gimmicks in XRX. What it's starting to feel like in NASCAR, the gimmick is the car, not the actual race format.
Yeah, kind
Because
of. I mean, I
because
would say the race
I'm
format is
starting to
definitely
believe-
bigger of a gimmick right now than the car is. But yeah, I do kind of agree with that the car is starting to become a bit of a
at this
joke
point,
at this point.
at this point, it's starting to look like the car is going to be a gimmick because we all thought when the next gen cars came out in iRacing, oh, it's this early build, and then the further we're going and the more information we're getting, we're just like,
No, this is it.
yeah, and like obviously Jay doesn't have iRacing, so he doesn't know what it feels like, but me and Gary do, and it is ridiculously easy to drive these things. These things have so much grip, it is ridiculous.
I agree.
I'm gonna say it. They're kind of boring to drive.
Well, you're not driving it, you know. You're pinning it
Like
and just
it's
cruising
like
to the left.
yeah, yeah. You're driving. It feels a part of it feels like you're just driving down a normal road
Yeah.
at just a really high speed because like I did a next gen race at Homestead. I never did it there. I was like, man, I was shocked that I had to let off the gas. I was in disbelief that I had to let off the gas compared to what I've seen at most tracks. I bet Gary's surprised I had to say that. Yeah, I had to let off the gas at Homestead.
I'm surprised at any mile and a half.
Yeah. Well, not like Kentucky because it's just so flat.
Oh
but-
yeah. But a normal average mile and a
Yeah.
half, like a Charlotte or Atlanta.
I mean, Charlotte. See the weird thing with the next gen car is after about 25 laps, it actually gets kind of harder. It gets harder to drive. Like the grip just goes away off the exit of the turn. So yeah, I don't know.
I'm just curious to see how accurate it's going to be compared to the
'Cause I'm
IRL
being-
stuff.
especially with like how NASCAR is like, oh yeah, we were using it for Atlanta to test things out. I'm just like, man, they must be confident. They got to be somewhat confident this is what it is. And the fact that
Yeah.
iRacing isn't, the fact that iRacing has really done nothing to them, I think is saying a lot right now.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
don't know,
mildly
just like,
concerning.
yeah, it's a little more to me concerning than mildly. It's just like I don't like.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm a huge fan of sim racing and whatnot, and obviously a passion and love for NASCAR video games, racing video games in general. But I think NASCAR is screwing up by relying so heavily on iRacing to determine what they do with the future of racetracks. I know that I think they said they're using
I don't-
iRacing for Auto Club as
I
well.
don't agree with that. I think it would be a cool thing to do. It's what NASCAR's direction they're wanting to take in the things that they're testing. So it's not necessarily the fact that they're relying on that information because I think they can get really accurate information and decent information with it.
It's not iRacing's
It's the
fault.
direction they're wanting to point it towards. It's not NASCAR doing it. It's NASCAR's direction they're wanting to point it towards and using it to get that. So I mean,
I
I don't
think,
think it's
though-
necessarily about NASCAR testing it on this thing. I think it's them wanting to go with the high downforce, low horsepower, easy to drive cars, all that kind of stuff. That's the fault of NASCAR, not them testing it on iRacing.
Well, yeah, but like specifically, I'm mentioning with like the track changes at Atlanta, they're relying on iRacing to determine how the changes to that track will produce what we see IRL on track, right? And I think that's the wrong move because iRacing has to absolutely nail this car to a T to be perfect to what it's doing in real life. Because I mean, we saw a few drivers mention that it was a bad idea because they said that they drive the current car and it drives nothing like the IRL car.
Yeah.
So
I don't blame iRacing because they're in a
it's not
partnership with
iRacing's fault at
NASCAR.
all.
Like, how is it iRacing's fault when NASCAR is like, hey, iRacing, can you do this? Can you
Right.
make this for us? Okay. All right. But
And then it's NASCAR's decision whether they want to use that data and apply it to real life or not, and it looks like they are. So I guess I agree with what Gary's saying about the track stuff. I mean,
I think Atlanta will be the
simulate-
biggest test.
yeah, you can simulate that stuff all you want,
Mhm.
but you can apply as many factors as you think that's going to happen in real life. But I mean, simply real life is different from simulation no matter
Yeah.
how accurate you get it. You never know what a certain cloud is going to do this in a weird spot, or maybe some rain that happens at a weird time and makes the track feel weird, or maybe just weird weather patterns and how it makes the track age, and then all of a sudden it starts driving differently because of that. You can't predict that with iRacing. So I mean, it's yeah, I guess that I see where you're coming from on that. The testing tracks on iRacing is maybe not the best course of action, but at the same time, I'm happy that they at least tried it because then they could, at least have somewhat of an expectation of what
Yeah,
they're
it
getting
gives
out of
them a
it.
rough idea.
Because if they had ran Texas through iRacing, they may have seen that and been like, "Oh crap, this is bad. Let's change it. So I mean, in one way it's good, and another way I guess it's bad if you rely too heavily on the simulation.
Um,
Yeah.
obviously,
Hey,
like
I'm going to say this with the new Atlanta, and Gary's going to agree with me with this. With the next gen car at New Atlanta, man, I'm not looking forward to driving that alone.
no, it's gonna suck.
Oh, it's gonna be horrible alone. It's gonna be so bad. Just driving alone. It's just gonna be like full throttle. Oh, there's a turn. Let me turn the wheel a little
Races
bit.
will be
Okay.
wild on iRacing
Oh
for
my god.
sure.
Oh my god. That can be ridiculous.
But obviously, like we don't know how accurate it's going to be. I have high hopes, of course, that it will be very accurate with what they're doing and modeling with iRacing in Atlanta and future tracks. You know, they're going to take input from
Well, the
iRacing
Auto
for
Club-
future
the
tracks.
Auto Club
Yes,
thing is
Auto Club, they're
iRacing
using
too.
it. So, and I wouldn't be surprised one bit if many tracks in the future that plan to reconfigure do the same route.
Yeah.
And hopefully
Actually, that's
it works out.
That's actually something we can talk about because Bob did a tweet about the Auto Club thing. So the plan is it's going to be 44 feet wide, which is wider than Atlanta in the turns, and only a half mile. That's a little awkward to say, to be honest. And the banking is going to be 18 to 20 degrees apparently.
So basically in Nashville.
Martinsville, Nashville.
Yeah.
So it's going to be Martinsville.
I honestly like the sound of that. That sounds.
The High
that
Bank
sounds appealing
Martinsville.
to me.
The High Bank Martinsville sounds great. You want to know what it's going to be like? It's going to be like a supersized slinger from
Oh, boy.
SRX. I'm down for that.
I'm down for it too.
I
Man,
think
but
it'll be
it's
better
honestly-
than what we
it's
have.
honestly just another Bristol. Honestly.
Yeah. I mean, I'm
It's just
hyped
not a
for it.
bad thing. Not
I
a
mean,
bad thing to have
A short track. We need those.
Short track with lots of banking that can provide some really good racing. I'll take more of those, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll be better than what we currently have at Auto Club. But
Yeah, I still would have been interested to see that track get repaid and what could happen. It's still full length with it repaid, but I can see why they wouldn't want to repave it, try it, and then if it didn't work out, go to
with
the
the
other
short track
configuration because
route, yeah.
that's way too much money.
yeah, it would have been
So
a waste.
I don't blame them for just trying it now and then taking it to a short track. And honestly, I think it could be exciting. So I'm okay with the idea of another high banked short track.
Yeah, we need more short tracks. I think it's a good move. I think this is one I'm like, yes, let's make this change. Atlanta, I'm like, I don't know. But yeah, no, I'm all for it.
Ask us from a year.
Yeah, ask us. Yeah,
Ask us
1
from a
year
year.
from today.
I'm telling you, with Atlanta, they confirmed that the first race is 500 miles.
Okay.
So.
Be a long one
honestly,
again.
if it turns out to be like Talladega or Daytona, and actually is a race like that, I don't see how I can complain about it because, I mean, plate races are just great. Well, except for the Daytona 500 this year when you have dumb situations like that. But a normal plate track where there's not a crash within the first 10 laps, those races are great. So I honestly, if that's how it turns out, I don't see how I can complain about it. But if it doesn't turn out that way and it's like some mediocre type of plate track, or it's just really there's no plate racing at all and they're separated and can't pass, then dear God, get ready for a shitstorm, NASCAR.
This is what I think. There's a few things that could happen. So let's just say if iRacing is somewhat accurate with the next gen car, it will 100% be a plate race.
Honestly, I don't see how that's a bad thing.
No, I'm just saying that's one possibility.
Yeah, no, I'm just offering my opinion of I don't see how it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
I would enjoy that.
I think it'll be wild. Or what's going to happen is that the dirty air is way more than we expect.
Yeah, and it's just going to be trash and awful, and no pads.
It'll be just a single file line on the bottom where no one
Yeah.
can do anything. And
Yeah.
oh joy.
Well, before we move on, I think that I can see it turning into a single file situation more than a pack race, just because the difference from a Daytona to a Talladega to Atlanta, even with the banking changes, of course, it's just the way the corners flow.
The radius.
Yes. Daytona and Talladega, it's so much different from what Atlanta is. And
it's so much
I
tighter.
just don't see how you're going to be able to make that second lane work like you can at a Daytona and Talladega without losing time on the top.
And especially when at Talladega and Daytona, you might have a flat back straightaway, but you still have those banked front straightaways, those tri-ovals. We're going to have flat D oval and then a
And that's
flat back
gonna,
straightaway at
yeah,
Atlanta.
that'll reduce the momentum
That
too.
alone, yeah, that alone will affect the drivers. So
I think they should have looked
I didn't
into
think about
adding
that. You're
some
right.
banking into the tri-oval as well. But even
Yeah.
then, with the radius of the corners, like Matt mentioned, I still think that turns 1, 2, 3, 4 alone, it's going to be enough to break it up and keep it, if they can stay together in more of a single file kind of race. Of
Mhm.
course, we
I
could
guess it
all be
also
proven
comes
wrong.
down to what speeds they're running as well, though. If they're not running really high speeds, then that may not matter so much. But you would hope that they're going to be running high
Yeah,
speeds because they should be running high speeds. So yeah, I still don't know how to, I don't know how to give an opinion on it because we have not seen anything about
exactly.
it. What I'm hearing is like, oh boy, it could either be really good or really bad. And so I mean,
Ask us again next year.
just have, yeah,
Yeah.
and even then, our opinions could change 2 or 3 years
Right.
down the line as well because
Yeah,
the
the
track,
track clears.
yeah, when the track
Um,
gets finally
Just
cleared
something
to go into
random
both.
off topic. Jay will get a kick out of this. Uh, did you see the Tigers Twins game today?
I did
What the hell?
17-14.
oh my.
This is a football game. Yeah, all right,
I
we
don't
can
know
move
what
on.
baseball, but I know that's a high score.
It
And
is
that
very high.
that's
For two teams to
ridiculous.
do that too, in the same
Yeah,
game. But
yeah. All right.
I guess we move on to the final area of the day. That's Formula One. So before we talk about real Formula One, the little stuff we do have, we want to quickly touch upon F1 2021. We've had it now for what, 2 weeks, I think, or
That's
about
almost
there,
3.
almost
I was gonna
3.
say maybe
Okay,
3.
so we've all been playing it quite a bit. I have already played F1 2021 more than I think I played 2020 and 2019 combined. I've really been enjoying my experience so far. The understeer I've gotten used to. I've been able
Yeah.
to adapt to it, and setups you can still get setups that work really well and combat that understeer, but you're still dealing with that understeer. It's very noticeable, but like I said, you learn to adapt to it, and it's not much of a problem now that I've gotten to the midway point of my career mode season, I guess. And the only flaw is um, as I first of all, I love the AI in this game, but there is a big flaw with the AI at the same time.
Yes, there is.
Oh my
Specifically,
God.
there's a certain this is a widespread issue across like the whole schedule, but specific tracks for me that I've noticed so far in Sector 2 at Britain, they are just through the S's and whatnot. They are unbelievably fast, even through cops heading up to the S's are really fast, and then.
Yes.
Yeah, like, I lost like so much time through there
They're
specifically.
able to go full throttle through there while
Yeah, but
like
you
we're still
can't
in
even
F1
think about it.
2020, but we can't. Yeah,
That's
no
what
chance.
I said. It was basically it felt like they kept the same AI
Yeah,
pace from 2020
yeah, that's
through
the exact
those
same thing I
corners.
felt as well.
Yeah,
Because it was the same thing at Baku. They're really fast in Sector 2
yep.
through the
And
castle
Austria
turn.
through the final sector, where usually last game you're flat out hauling the mail.
Yeah,
You can't no more, but the AI still.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
hope they fixed that. There
Um,
was a new patch today. I don't know if that
honestly,
got fixed.
no.
Okay.
I looked at the notes and it was like it was more like a lot of it was stability fixes, and it was only for PC and PS4. So disappointment for us.
well, for now,
Not for
it will
not
be
for
coming to
Gary, but
Xbox. They said, but
we assume. Yeah.
no, it said it was
Yeah,
Another.
no, they confirmed
Oh,
it would
okay.
be coming later.
Okay. Another one. You probably didn't notice it because it was so early in your career mode. Spain is ridiculous.
yes.
I was terrible there. I had to
No,
turn the
so let
AI
me- let
down
me-
so much.
So like I'm trying to run it at like 98 AI for most of my races and to see where I stand and see what I think. So that's what me and Gail were doing in 2-player career mode. You want to know how low we had to go to make it even like remotely fair? Mid to low 80s.
Really?
Really?
Yes.
Were you losing a lot
It
of
was-
time specifically in Sector 3?
I feel like you would lose it in. I don't.
I
I
remember losing a good bit
in-
in Sector 1.
in
That's
Sector
what I
1,
found, yeah.
I gained in Sector 1 and 2. I was able to gain every time. In Sector 3 though, I would lose all of the time that I gained making it
that's
up in
where I
Sector
would
1 and
gain.
2. I couldn't gain anything there.
My
3
two big
was my best.
places, or there was 3 big places that I noticed it. It was like either turn 2 or turn 3, the long sweeping right hander.
Yeah.
And then the next long sweeping right hander to go onto the straightaway where DRS is, you really had to slow down there, and the AI could floor it through there. And then the
Mhm.
back half of Sector 3 as well. Those last like 3 or 4 turns and the really slow section of it. Those were like the 3 areas that I noticed I was
The
losing the
chicane is
most
so
time.
brutal. The chicane's brutal, but
The
for
chicane
me,
is worse this year than it's ever been for me. I was
dude.
so bad through
Well,
there.
it's mostly just because the curbs in this game.
Yeah,
It makes it so
I
much
do
rougher.
like that
and-
they've cracked down though with the curbs.
so do
Yes.
I. It's
'Cause
just
I-
it's just the thing to get used to.
Yeah, they can't abuse it in real life, but we were always able to abuse it in the games. You can still abuse it to an extent, but not
you can-
anywhere near the extent that you could
I'm at
previously.
Monza. I'm at Monza right now in my team.
Oh, I bet
Literally
the,
at oh my god, it
I
is
bet, I bet
so
the
bad.
quote unquote S's there are terrible.
No, literally every practice, I damage my floor.
Yeah, okay, so I was
Really?
watching Ereva's video there, and he damaged his floor at the same track for the first time. Like
Yeah,
that's
I was
Yeah,
gonna say I haven't
big
had
issue.
any issues with it yet.
Oh, you're gonna have them.
And you lose
Really?
so
All
much
right.
pace when you damage the floor.
Yes, yeah, it's so bad. I'm just like, this race is gonna be miserable. It's gonna be horrifying when I actually do it.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that one in career mode, and it's not far away from me. So,
Yeah, and
You know, another thing I've noticed about the AI as well is their crash avoidance is like 0.
awful. That's how my crash today got even worse.
Yeah.
Another track, and I talked about this before the podcast. Zandvoort is super hard.
Yeah, I feel like that's the one where I'm gonna have to like dip below 100.
It's you don't have to. I don't think you have to drop it a lot, but you do have to drop it. And the main reason is that right-hander after the long curvy straight is
Yeah,
that's the main.
that's what I've been hearing.
Because they basically go full throttle. Like it feels like they basically go full throttle, and you just like literally have to get all the gas completely.
Yeah, I
And
feel
it's
like they might have over or missed something with the AI and porting it over from last game to this game and missed the fact that they need to have more understeer.
Yeah, I mean, you know they're gonna patch it in eventually.
Oh, yeah,
but
they'll fix
that's
it, but
that's a lengthier
for now,
one.
it's
That's gonna be a
frustrating.
ways out.
And I'm trying to think of other tracks that are like I'm just thinking that are coming up and like what's gonna be bad.
I wonder what China's gonna be like.
That's thinking that I'm like
I didn't
man,
realize so because I was so confused. I went into career mode and I was like, "Where's China?" But I
it's
guess
the last,
what's that?
I think it's the last race.
Well, in season 1, it's Abu Dhabi, but for some reason they don't have it in season 1. But they said when you progress to season 2 of your career mode, China goes on the schedule. So I don't know actually what race it is.
that whole thing, okay, that's bizarre. And hopefully the new tracks come relatively soon.
I was
Yeah, I
reading
would like
about
them to
that,
come.
and from the sounds of it, later in the year.
Yeah,
It's just kind of what
Yeah.
I expected because it takes a lot of time to get those tracks.
yeah, and I mean we were talking like in Nitro about it, it's like because we're gonna go to the new game. It's like where the hell are we gonna put them? Because I'm like, well, we can't even like follow the real schedule because it changes every
Yeah.
damn week at this point. So we're just doing like the same thing with NASCAR custom schedules and see what people want. And I can already tell you, I already know what the last 4 races of the season are in the exact order they're going to be
One of
in
them is
because everyone
Monza.
basically. No, it's
No?
the last 4 of the races of the season are Canada, USA, Mexico, Brazil in that order.
Why would people vote for those 4?
Because
Well, everyone wants Brazil to be the last race.
yeah, and so everybody's doing the North America, South America swing, and so they're all doing those the final 4 races.
Yeah, and a lot of people I've seen a lot of people that we're gonna have Singapore really early.
So we get my
I'm
favorite
fine with
race
that.
like
Get the
right off
heck
the
out of
bat.
the way.
I love Singapore.
I hate
Basically-
Singapore.
Basically, what everyone is doing is like you're kind of starting in like the Middle East or like Asia area, and then you move across the world.
Oh
And then-
god, Singapore is probably gonna feel like ass on the new game.
I was gonna say, man, I don't know how it's gonna feel.
Oh,
I haven't driven it
no,
yet, but
no.
I love Singapore with a passion.
God.
I love getting any chance I can to drive around that track.
Oh God, the understeer in that last turn. Oh no. Oh
No. All right.
I haven't
all right,
watched any
petition
gameplay
to
there
take
yet.
it
I'll
off
have
the
to check that
schedule.
out. No.
Oh no.
Dear God, that's
Um,
gonna be like one of the worst ones of the year.
Oh God. Oh no. I'm almost there because I think it's after Italy.
I'm getting somewhat close to it, but I think it does come right after Italy.
But I mean, another thing that's annoying with the game is just general the bugs.
Yeah, I
What kind
finally
of?
started having the
The
audio.
audio cutout is so
Oh yeah, I
bad.
heard that's a
Yeah,
console
Oh
issue.
my
Yeah.
god, it's
I
so bad.
I finally started having it, and it's really annoying.
Okay, I guess this is just a smorgasbord of what I got. My Zandvoort race was the most wild shit I've ever seen. Okay, I'm just minding my own business, getting my ass kicked because Zandvoort's really hard. And then there was like a 3-car crash with Leclerc, Ocon, and someone else. Safety car comes out. I'm laughed at this point, okay? And also the safety car picks up 2 cars ahead of the lead, like 3 cars ahead of the leaders, okay? So we're going down the curvy straight. Oh, Hamilton blows up. Under safety car in the lead. Okay, going to like the next curvy straight before the curvy part before the second DRS. All of a sudden, the top 5 like lap down cars, lead lap cars, they all morph and ghost into each other at once. I'm like, oh, what is happening?
Yeah, I had that happen at Baku.
Okay. And then one of them had to give up like 8 spots. So then I come in the pits. Then I'm coming out of the pits. And then there's Mick Schumacher just sitting there, just waiting. He was with me near the front of the field because he was lap 2. He didn't pit. He comes out, he's like, yeah, Mick got a penalty. I'm like, for what? What? And then you want to know what happens? I go down the curvy straight. Oh, Bottas, who took the lead from Hamilton. Oh no, he's last car in line now because he got a penalty and he's got 5-second time penalty for some reason.
Yeah, I had a wild Baku race to put me on the podium because it was Gasly decided to full send up my inside into a corner when he was like way back and got himself spun and then wound up DNFing Sonoda and some other people like got in a ghost
Yeah,
car and all this weird stuff happened and there was some weird strategy and it
This
wound up
is-
putting me in second or third. I can't
Yeah.
remember which, but
And another problem with the game, I mean, there's some weird shit that like that Zandvoort race and like the ghosting and stuff like that. Another problem with the game, oh my god, the AI strategy is so bad.
yeah,
It is horrible. You can cheese so many races just by doing a half decent strategy. And it's not because your strategy was good. It was just the AIs were so bad.
yeah, I've noticed that a lot. I've noticed that a lot too. And it seems like to me the mechanical failures are scripted. I've had a couple
Yes,
of
yeah,
times.
they are 100%
Yeah,
scripted.
they're like you load into the race and they're set there and if you restart they're still
They
gonna
were.
happen no matter what.
Yes, because want to know what happened? We did me and Gail were doing our 2-player career, and then we had a glitch happen, and the AI were way too high, and we weren't even having fun because we're like 20 seconds behind the freaking Haas's in a Williams at like lap 10, and then like his internet crashed, and we were like, okay, let's just restart the race. But at this point, someone DNF'd at lap 7. I think it was Stroll DNF'd lap 7. We do the race again. He DNF'd lap 7 in the exact same spot.
Yeah, I had my first career race in Bahrain. It was the first race that I'd done on the game, so I had the AI set to where I usually had it, and I realized it was way too high on like lap 4 of the race. So and Bottas had DNF'd on like lap 2 or lap 3 on the second DRS straight. So I decided that I was going to restart, and then we come around to lap 2 or 3, and he DNFs on that same spot again. I was like, huh, that seems like this is scripted. And then me and MJ restarted our Baku race, and his engine died under a safety car on a certain lap. We restarted it, and it still did the same thing again. So it was like, yeah, these are scripted.
Well, in past games, I've run into that too, where the same thing happened with the AI DNFs. So that one isn't new to me, but the mechanical failure, that's interesting to hear. So it's like it's almost like set before the race even starts.
Yeah.
You know, which at the same time, I mean, it's kind of how they have to do it. But and you still don't know if you only run it one shot. I mean, obviously you don't know what's coming, right?
Yeah, like
if you run it one shot, it doesn't matter. But when you have something happen where you have to restart, it's kind of like, oh, this is a little disappointing. But
yeah, it's like we didn't restart our Spain race because we wanted to. It was just because weird things happened. Because like, oh, Gail had an internet issue and stuff, and yeah, so and the AI were just way too hard and not worth like they were 20 seconds ahead of us in like 10 laps. Like that's just not fun.
Right. Overall, Are you guys still enjoying the game? I myself am having
Oh
a
yes.
blast.
Oh yes,
Oh, it
very
feels
much.
great. Once they get these bugs and like these weird kinks sorted out, it's gonna be
Incredible.
yeah.
The career mode depth on it is fantastic. The 2-player careers, I honestly enjoy the crap out of the 2-player career.
Yeah.
I was expecting it to just be like a co-op thing where you just go in and it's basic, but no, it's literally career mode just with the second person. You can still do all the media interviews, the card development, all that kind of stuff. So I think that that's like one of my most favorite things about the game is the 2-up career mode. It's really fun.
Yeah, it's so fun just to have another player with.
2-up? Did I say 2-up? Co-op career mode.
Yeah.
2-player career mode. Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I'm loving the game so far. Great job by Codemasters. But yeah, let's get those bugs fixed. Hopefully sooner rather than later. But I guess we only have one more kind of aspect to talk about, and that still has to do with F1, and that is real F1 now. Red Bull, Mercedes tomorrow. They got a video conference with the FIA. Don't remember what time it is. I don't really care about what time it is, but it is tomorrow.
10 a.m. for us.
10 a.m. for us. Okay, so they, of course, Red Bull has pushed to launch an investigation on Lewis Hamilton's and Max Verstappen's incident. Obviously, we kind of saw it coming. There was rumblings that it might be happening, that they were going to try and push for this, and sure enough, they went and did it. So
I think the thing wasn't an investigation into the incident. I think it was an investigation into the penalty.
It is.
well,
it
same
is.
thing
So it's not.
essentially.
So it's
but
not necessarily going after Lewis and trying to have something happen to him. It's something to do with whoever gave out the penalty or something like that. I'm not too sure, but it's
Matt,
more
I-
specifically about the penalty and not Lewis Hamilton.
Matt had a big theory or something. I really wanted to hear about it.
There's two theories I have of what's going on here, and so all right. So one of the theories that I have is this crash has a lot bigger implications than you think, other than
$1.8 million, by the way,
And they also have a new car
It's-
that got ruined.
and a spending cap.
Wow, yeah, man, it's like so. The car got destroyed. They get 0 points. Hamilton wins the race. That's 25 points. There's even more implications. Like Gary and them already said, the car was totaled. Almost $2 million in damages towards the budget cap to fix it or whatever they have to do. And we're going to find out Friday because they're attempting to save this engine for very good reason. And I have a feeling this is one of the theories of why they're doing this. So if they can't get this engine fixed, they will eventually have to move to a fourth engine, which results in a grid penalty, which is not good for what battle Max Verstappen's in. So basically, theory number one is the FIA. I think they're going to try to go to the FIA and say, "Hey, this is really more than just a wreck. It's hurting our entire season because of like, oh, we only have limited parts and stuff." I think they're going to try to be like, give us an extra engine because of what Lewis did. So we don't get that grid penalty later in the season. Because they will have to take a grid penalty later in the season if this engine goes kaput. Which it very might well go kaput Friday. And then the second one is, my second theory is they're going to try to give Lewis a grid penalty for Hungary. And if that's what they're trying to do, it's genius. Because Hungary, you ain't passing anybody.
You can't. I couldn't even do it in the game.
Yeah.
So that's like, other than Monaco, you think Hungary, about where you can't pass.
In Spain.
Well, yeah, in Spain. But so I mean, it would be absolutely genius. Christian Horner, he knows exactly what he's doing. I love that guy so much. But I mean, yeah, I mean, even then, I mean, what if they get Lewis a grid penalty? Well, if they can't get a new engine, they know they're going to have to switch on one. What better time than to take a grid penalty when Lewis has no more advantage than you?
No. So what they're gonna do? You can't take the grid penalty until you take your fourth engine.
And what engine are they on right now?
Silverstone was on their second.
Oh, okay.
So they're gonna try to
never
use
mind
that one
then, yeah.
Friday. All right, but let's say they let's just say they use their fourth one. Let's just say Mexico, race 19. You have to you lose 5 spots no matter what, or how many ever spots a illegal engine change is, right? It's brutal, no matter what track it is. It's brutal. And then you start reading like, man, yeah, that is kind of screwed up. That Hamilton wrecking a guy on purpose or not has a lot more implications than just one race. Because now you have the budget cap too. So that's my thoughts on it, at least.
I mean, I agree with what you said for everything, really.
It's gonna be interesting what we hear tomorrow.
If they actually decide to do anything, I think something will come out of it. I just don't know what. But
I mean, they could also try to increase Hamilton's penalty but I don't know how that would work because 10 seconds or like drive through, right? That's the next step, and that doesn't make any sense.
yeah, no, I think they have to move on from Britain and
Yeah, I think that it's going to be something at Hungary. And if it's a grid penalty, like at Hungary, that's just brutal.
but very smart from Red Bull.
Mm-hmm.
Jay, did you have any thoughts on the what could be happening?
I mean, I kind of agree with Karma that they probably are going to try and have something to where they don't get a penalty for switching engines, or maybe they will go after Lewis to give him a penalty for Hungary, or yeah, for Hungary or something. I don't know what specifically they could be going after other than those two things, because I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I don't think they can even do anything with Britain. Uh, so I don't know. I do agree that their probably biggest thing they're going after is we're gonna have to switch engines, so don't give us a grid penalty. But I'm conflicted with how to feel on that one because it's a rule that I think that should stick no matter what. Even if you're put into a crappy situation because another driver
Yeah.
completely dumped your shit and sent your driver to the hospital. Like, I think it's a rule that should stick no matter what. So I don't know.
It's weird.
Maybe the most that we see happen is something, a grid penalty to Lewis or something like that. I don't know, but I highly doubt the FIA will listen to any kind of appeal and actually give Red Bull a free pass for changing or going to an extra engine.
Yeah, I agree. Just something I just saw on Reddit here is Marco says expect Perez in 2022. So
Really?
yeah,
That's good.
he says Perez will probably remain at Red Bull.
Yeah,
so.
the way they were talking, it was like they hadn't decided yet. They didn't really know.
They want to decide after summer break. So
Well, that's good to hear. I think he deserves to stay. His
yeah,
last couple races have been a little off, but yeah. I mean, hopefully it'd be awesome to see Perez have a nice, comfortable seat for next year again. So, and obviously we have the new regulations next year. I don't think you'd want to make drastic roster changes for this upcoming year.
Yeah.
But before we do end it, we have of course Hungary this weekend. So we get to do our little prediction again for the podium. So we don't know at this point of recording if maybe Lewis Hamilton's going to get a grid penalty or something for the start of Hungary.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'll start first. I think Verstappen bounces back, makes a really big statement in Hungary, wins the race. I'm going to say if Lewis doesn't get some grid penalty, I think he's third, and I think Perez is second. Jay, do you have a podium in mind?
If there's no penalty given to Lewis, I think it could. I don't know if I could. I don't know if I could see Verstappen beating Lewis at Hungary, but if there's no penalty to Lewis, I'll say that Verstappen beats Lewis and then probably Perez third. But I think it'll be really close between the first two, and it could maybe be possible that Lewis beats Verstappen if Lewis is given some kind of penalty, though. I think we might see Verstappen, Perez, and Norris on the podium.
Matt, what podium do you have in mind?
Max, Perez, Leclerc.
What do you think happens with Lewis?
Karma's a bitch.
Okay, okay.
That's what I
Karma,
think.
get it?
I think. No pun intended. Karma will haunt him at this weekend. And I also say Leclerc because Ferrari likes slow turns. And does Hungary have a lot of them?
Got a lot of them. Yeah, that's the majority
That's
of the
true.
track.
Ferrari's gone from being we can only be good at fast tracks to all of a sudden now our engine's kind of meh and our downforce is all right. So
Yeah. So we'll see.
Ferrari's on the climb back up, but
I mean, no one. My opinion is no one's on a climb to anywhere because guess what? New cars next
regulations.
season.
Woo! But yeah, I mean, anyone have anything? One last point to go on, or anything before we call it?
It's been
I
quiet
don't
in
have anything.
NASCAR.
Yeah,
Too quiet.
I was hoping something
Honestly,
was gonna
yeah,
happen.
I'm genuinely surprised we didn't get any silly season stuff this week.
Yeah.
There's hope for next week, or maybe you know what? The podcast trend tomorrow. Something's gonna
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
big
every
drop.
time we recorded on Tuesday, or something drops on Wednesday. We recorded on Wednesday, something drops on Thursday.
Yeah, they decide
so,
to wait an extra day. They're like, we can hold off.
They know we're recording and we're gonna spill all their secrets, so they
They're
gotta wait a
listening.
day.
There's something I've seen on Reddit. Justin Marks says he is looking into possibly doing a Indy 500 entry.
Woo! Put Suarez in the car.
Yeah,
that'd be funny.
wait, no.
I don't want him getting hurt. But yeah.
Jimmy Johnson said he's looking to do the Indy 500
Yeah, I did see
next
that.
year.
I mean, you never know. They could partner up. That'd be kind of cool. But
yeah, I mean, quiet.
I didn't mean that. I just want to bring up the point.
Next week, hopefully, there will be some NASCAR silly season news to talk about. Formula One
or just
could
NASCAR.
be wild. Yeah, just give some to NASCAR. Kyle Busch go on another vacation. Formula One, Hungary. We're gonna be excited to watch and talk about that one. But yeah, as always, I guess if you guys enjoyed, you know what to do. This is a lot lengthier than I thought we were gonna have, but of course, having Joey on was an absolute blast. Thanks again to him for joining us. We had a nice talk about NASCAR 21 and Formula One stuff, and it was a fun time tonight. So thank you again for taking the time of your day to watch on YouTube, listen on Spotify, whatever platform you listen on, and we will see you guys next week. Have a great day, everybody.